From Islamabad to Kashgar, the Karakoram Highway crosses over this continental collision zone. Evidence for this ongoing encounter is easy to see on a grand scale in the magnitude of mountains, and up close in the colors and patterns of the roadside rocks. I devoted quite a lot of time to presenting the cultural, political, historical, linguistic, and religious characteristics of the place, while I neglected to describe the geological features. Now I see the time has come to make up for it while hiking. About 130 million years ago, when dinosaurs still roamed the earth, the Indian plate broke away from Gondwana and drifted north towards another landmass called Laurasia. Between the colliding continents lay a wide, shallow tropical sea called Tidi, and off the shore of Laurasia was a chain of volcanic islands, similar to present-day Indonesia or Japan. Some 80 million years after breaking away from Gondwana and India collided with Asia. The Indian plate buried its edge under the Asian plate, lifting it up. Trapped in the middle, the small oceanic plate supporting the offshore island chain was tipped almost on end, and Tidi's sea was swallowed up. The mountain chain comprising the Himalaya, Karakoram and Hinduksh ranges was born as a result of this stupendous collision, which is still going on today. Continents are not easily slowed down. The Indian plate continues to plow northwards at about 5 centimeters per year, and the mountains are still rising. And if we are talking about Earth movement, this section particularly scares me. It wouldn't be nice to be here when that happens. I don't like staying here a lot though, but this view speaks for itself. There are other dangers to be reckoned with. Now is the wild duck hunting season. Not many people go there at this time. Except the hunters, of course. It wouldn't be nice to meet a stray bullet here. In the course of the continental collision, the plate bearing the old volcanic island chain was effectively upended. At Juljul, the Karakoram Highway crosses the boundary from the Indian plate to the volcanic island complex. The edge of the Asian plate is exposed near Chalt, in Naja, in a multicolored jumble of sedimentary rock, volcanic material, talc and greenish serpentine. From Chalt all the way to Kashgar, the road crosses Old Laurasia, with Laurasia's former southern shore now heaved up into the Karakoram range itself. I plan to visit the Kunjarib Pass, which marks the Chinese border, but the weather forecast does not promise anything good. It's snowing heavily over there right now, so it is no longer possible to visit there this year. There is a variety of rocks in the Hunza Valley, with large red garnets are very common. White marble bands are conspicuous around Karimabad, and the famous ruby mines of Hunza are in the hills between Karimabad and Hasanabad. From Karimabad to Pasu, the high spine of the Karakoram is composed mostly of 50 million to 100 million year old granite, part of the vast body extending eastwards for 2,500 kilometers along the India-Asia boundary to Lhasa and beyond. From Pasu to the Kunjarib Pass, the geology is dominated by dark and light-colored shale and limestone, seen prominently in the sawtooth peaks around Pasu. The most dramatic geological monuments on the Xinjiang side are two mountains of the Conga and Muztarata, consisting of metamorphic rocks and granites. that have been squeezed up from deep in the Earth's crust and then exposed in the last 5 million years. Geology is the science of the subcontinent. Geologically, it is one of the most, if not the most, exciting part of the world. Few would imagine how tectonically active this part is even today. Unfortunately, frequent earthquakes remind everyone of the seismological activation of the region. The mountainous landscape that is an unavoidable challenge to everyday life in northern Pakistan. And the major drawcard for adventurers is also a showcase for branch of science. A basic understanding of the process of mountain formation reveals much about Pakistan's amazing landscape. Building the highway in this lunar landscape seems like the greatest engineering challenge in modern history. This is where one becomes most aware of the fragility of human being. And another lesson at the same time, which we tend to forget. We humans are only passers on this planet. We like to believe in the illusion that this planet is our home. Home is what we control. What we possess, army and industry. But if you can only possess something for a moment, do you possess it at all? And life is just a moment. In terms of geological history, it's not even as much. And here I am not talking about a single life, but about time of humanity. We think in vain that we have tamed the monster, we are actually hers. This landscape will look like this when human no longer treads the earth. We will disappear without a trace like the dinosaurs, and there will be no evidence that we were ever here. Whatever we do against her, in the end nature will have the last word. It's a sobering realization, and it's one of those places that confronts human with their own insignificance. My final conclusion cannot be anything else than that only nature should be monumental. Man-made monumentalism is blasphemy. And it's manifesting itself the most in the size of empires and great powers. Will we humans ever learn this lesson? Or do we continue to build the Tower of Babel until it collapses under its own weight, repeating the same mistake over and over again? Anyway, I need something to eat. After the exhausting 5-hour hike, I am understandably hungry. True to my good habit, I satisfy my hunger at a local restaurant, which, in terms of its character, is more of an eating house than a restaurant. Stuffed pasta, so-called mantu. Mantu and samosa. After the afternoon rest, I plan an evening walk to Karimabad. But now I'm still enjoying this wonderful late autumn afternoon and panorama from my accommodation. Here the guest houses touch each other. However, there are fewer guests due to off-season. Daytime frost will set in within a month. This means in practice that all hotels and guest houses close in December. The hosts go down south to spend the winter there. I am now the only guest at this accommodation. The whole sector suffered the corona lockdown even here. This means that guests stayed away even in peak season. I start my evening walk up to Karimabad. It takes an hour to walk there uphill. However, it gets dark early this time of year. I won't get there before sunset, and it will be pitch dark by the time I get back. But I will definitely taste the famous Karimabadi walnut cake. There are no streetlights here. As you can see, after dark, you can't even see up to your nose. The lack of this sense is not without danger in the mountains for obvious reasons. Beautiful sunny autumn weather awaits us in the next few days. If you can, stay with me. Thank you for being here. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider to subscribe. Thanks.